Good morning. Now we're going to talk about what we can do in terms of developing sourcing for our voice. As you know, there are five different places that we normally get our voices from. First is what we call the head tone. Next is the nasal tone. Third will be the throat tone. The fourth is the chest tone. And finally is the diaphragmatic tone. Now, for most people, the default sources for their voices, number one would be their nose and their throat. Now, this may be a bit of a trivia item, but the truth is, women by default are throaty, and men by default are nasal. And because of that, they will always have this need to modify the way they sound. And sometimes they can use that particular sound, that particular skill for a specific purpose. So I'd like to talk about how we can modify the way we sound by modifying how we source our voices. First of all, if you're male and of course your default sound is your nasal tone, then you may want to add a little bit of throat. That way, your voice, your words will be easily heard, easy to understand. So, for instance, when you listen to disc jockeys on FM, they make a great effort to use their throat. And by the way, that's the reason why they are seldom allowed on the air longer than 3 hours per shift because it takes a toll on their throat and they will run out of voice if they keep it up longer than 3 hours. So, for instance, if I were on FM, I might say DWKM 104.8. That's a throat tone. Now, for women, because they are naturally throaty, then they would have to make the effort to sound more nasal just so that they'll sound better. And that's where people like Karen Carpenter or even Barbara Streisand come in because they've both learned to leverage the way that they sound so that it's not exclusively throaty, but it's blended with nasality. Or, for instance, Karen Carpenter's uh, I believe in happy endings, though I've only known a few, which of course clearly nasal. But that's where they blend it so that they sound better. Because if it's throaty, then she may have sounded more like Cyndi Lauper than Karen, right? All right, so that's it for today in terms of how do you source your voice and how do you modify it so that you sound better.